who's participating, but we're at the 1st of September with the weirdest year I think I've ever lived through. Most of you probably feel the same way. And for me, the 1st of September really marks the beginning of next year. I mean, if you aren't thinking 2021 right now, then you need to start. The actions you do right now are going to determine how your year is going next year. I mean, right now we're working on January, February, and March of 2021. So it's time to think about that. There's a lot of unknowns about what's going to happen in 2021 we've got elections, we've got COVID, we got vaccines, we got all kinds of things on our mind. And right now, all the agents are rather busy because the market's been very strong. But that doesn't mean you can take your eye off the ball, take your eye off of modeling and planning for what's to come in 2021. So I'm going to hit on some of that today. And Tommy, I'm going to hit some on some prospecting. After I talked this morning, I made about 20 pages of notes, so I don't know if I'm going to get through them all. But I want you to leave with some strategies and some thoughts around ways you can improve your modeling and improve your business. And if we don't finish, I'll just come back another time. But first of all, I want to ask you a few questions. And you can write some of these down and think about them. Do you feel like you're reaching your potential right now? What's working in your business and what's not? And when you answer those two questions and you look at them, the things that are not working, what if we could find a way to solve them? What if we could improve your prospecting success percentage, your closing rates? Would you be willing to put the time in? Because right now it's easy, we're cashing a lot of checks. But we have to stay focused on our processes because things are changing very, very rapidly in our business. We are turning into an on-demand economy where people can ask Siri where, oh gosh, I said the word. No, they can ask Siri for the name of a realtor in the area. It can say, hey, Alexa, give me the name of a realtor. Things are changing rapidly. We have to be adapting to that. So what's working, what's not? And if you were to hit your potential looking into 2021, if you were to hit your potential in the next 12 months or 16 months, what would your life be like? What would that mean? How would things change? I mean, it's always good to look ahead and have those goals out ahead. They help guide you as you're, trying to make your way into improving and modeling your business, especially around prospecting. What's your number one regret for settling for something less than your potential? Is there things you really could have done this year that you didn't? And are you willing to look at those squarely and say, hey, it's time I fix this stuff before it just continues on and continues on? Because things are getting a lot more competitive out there. We've got Alexa, we've got Amazon, we've got all kinds of these other sources trying to grab business, trying to grab parts of our commission. We've got to keep upping our game and keep getting sharper and sharper and sharper. It's part of what I'm going to talk about today. Another thing is with the on-demand economy, consumers are not willing to wait for you. When they want an answer to the price of a home and they call you and you don't answer, or you say, hey, let me give you a call back, they'll just go find the price someplace else. See, that's a change over what it was just 5-6 years ago. So we have to be sharper, we have to be faster, we have to move very, very rapidly, or the people will just, in an on-demand economy, they'll just go somewhere else to find the answer to their question. So differentiating is important. You have to step away from what the norms are. You have to stand out from the crowd, what the other agents are doing, the ones that are lazy, they're not trying to improve themselves, and differentiate. It's through differentiation that you will be noticed as something different, something that people are attracted to, that they want to work with you. Okay, so having said that, just think about some of those questions some. It's an important change. But there are four core, actually there's a fifth one, but there are a traditional core four lead generation processes in real estate business. Core four, first one is, and the most important one, is your past clients and sphere of influence. If you are new to the business, you don't have a database yet, you don't have a large CRM full of information and people. It's time to start. You have to build a database. You have to have your sphere of influence entered into your CRM so you can be communicating with them. And by goodness, if you have past clients, you've got to be staying in touch with them. They will be your future sellers. I mean, if they're past clients, they bought a home from you, they will become sellers if you stay in touch with them. If you don't stay in touch with them and follow up, you will be replaced by someone else who's knocking on their door with a smile and handing them a packet of seeds for their garden or whatever it is they're doing. So you've got to stay really, really close to the people. And as we enter into the prospecting, I want to go over some of that follow-up stuff, because prospecting is great, but if you're not doing the proper follow-up and nurturing, then you're going to fall flat. You're going to go from hot lead to hot lead to hot lead, and then wonder why there is no closing. So we've got the core four: past clients, geographic farming, open houses, turning open houses into a mega open house. And yes, we can do open houses during COVID. You can do them online. People are starting to do them in person again. Huge, huge opportunity with open houses, because the leads you're meeting are actually handshakes, well, elbow butts. You're talking to them live. They're not a mystery person, a ghost on the other end of a phone line. So they're still, it's not old fashioned. They are very, very profitable. Online leads and social media is another one. And Tommy, I want to talk another time. I want to get into how to do Google display ads, because Google display ads are going to have your face popping up all over the internet on sites. And agents that are doing that are just getting phone calls saying, well, yeah, I see you everywhere. Well, that's because they're on the Google display network. And the ads are pretty easy to run. And I'm going to show you how, okay? The other one is expireds and FSBOs. We all know that. There's not as many expireds as there were in the past, but there are a lot of FSBOs, a lot of people trying to do it themselves. And that's a great place for you to come in, be different than the other agents that knock on their door and say, I want to list your home. Be different. And I'll tell you about that also. Okay. First of all, on follow-up, we can't afford to piss any leads away. If you have good leads, you need to do the follow-up. So how are you going to follow up? I mean, number one is obviously making a phone call. What's the next one? Anyone? What about texting? What about email? What about snail mail? Someone give me another one. What's another great way to follow up that I didn't mention? What about video text? What about, hey, it was great talking to you this afternoon. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow at the showing. Hey, be sure to bring your mask. It's still the rules around here. And when we get together, I look forward to seeing you in person, blah, blah, blah. Quick little video, or just text it to them. When you're using an iPhone, you're allowed a minute and 12 seconds, I think it is. And Android phones are 16 seconds. So when you're sending this quick little tap video, you want to make it really, really quick. But it's very, very effective, because they're seeing your face. They're hearing your voice. Suddenly, when they show up to meet you at a house to see it, they recognize you. So texting is great. Phone is great. Email is great. Sending mail with stamps on it, slow. Doesn't hurt though. And then sending video text is another big one. When you're sending this stuff out, you want to watch for your prospects. You want to watch for which one they respond to. If they respond to a phone call, then that seems like, if they respond to a voicemail, that's their way they like to communicate. If they respond by text, then that's going to be your primary way of communicating with them. So watch for the trends. Some people don't like to text. Some people just want phone calls. So look at the way you're communicating with the people and the way you're following up with them, because you can prospect and get all the leads you want, but if you're not doing the follow-up, they're just going to be gone. What about slide dial? What about sending a slide broadcast voicemail to them? Preset voice message. Slide broadcast is wonderful. You record the message. Hey, it was great talking with you. I look forward to serving you. Please let me know if you have any questions at all. I'm always here. My phone number is blah, 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 blah. record it once and you use it over and over and over. After you have a phone conversation with people or you meet them someplace, you just drop that pre-recorded voicemail on. Any other ones? Anyone else have any other ways to communicate? No? Okay. So work on those. Work on your system. Are you using all the possible channels to communicate, or are you just an email person? 80% of texts get responded to. Only 30% of emails get responded to. If you're just an email person, there are clients out there, potential customers that are not going to work with you because that's not the way they like to communicate. All right.
Steve, before you continue, a quick question. Hi, thank you again, by the way.
Sure.
What's your take on utilizing like BombBomb or videos in your text messages versus voice or versus written text?
BombBomb is wonderful. It's a wonderful pre-recorded voice message, or if you're going to do a custom message for the people, I just raise the phone up and text them a video. But if you have a pre-recorded message through BombBomb, for like Zillow, oh, hi, it's Steve. Just saw you registered in my account on Zillow. I'll be calling you here shortly, and we can talk about the home. That's a pre-recorded BombBomb that you can line up in your CRM to go out automatically when you get a new lead. And so BombBomb's very useful for that. If you're going to just send like a message after open houses, I want to share with you, when someone comes in the open house and they come in and it's Bob and Sally is their name, and they got their dog Trixie in their arms, you say, oh, what's your dog's name? You do that on purpose to find out the dog's name is Trixie. At the end of the day, you send them a video. Hey, Bob and Sally, it's Steve. I just want to thank you for coming by the open house. It was so good meeting you guys and Trixie. You make it personal, and the connection is there, as opposed to just straight BombBomb pre-recorded ones are not quite as much of a connection. Does that address what you're saying, Jonathan?
Yeah, 100%. Personalizing it and video goes further.
Yes. So, but there is a place for the pre-recorded, because that it at least they're getting a pre-recorded one until you can find the actual moment where you can reach out to them. But anytime they see your face, it's a big bonus. So, and most people are bashful or shy about being on camera, and you just have to get over that. You want them to see you. You want that connection. Another point, it's just some important tidbits. Never shift the burden of follow-up to the client. And I hear this all the time. I catch myself doing it. Watch for yourself doing it. Hey, Bob, hey, I just sent you some video or some listings to look at. Hey, have a look at them and, give me a call if you want to see them. Who's responsible for the next contact? You laid it on Bob. You said, Bob, you call me. And that's a big failing. Because then when Bob doesn't call you, and the next day you're like, oh, wonder if I should call Bob. He never got back to me. Okay, so it creates a kind of an odd feeling in you and resisting making the call. The better response is, hey, Bob, it's Steve. Hey, I just sent you some listings over. Hey, have a look at them and give me a call if you have any questions. If I don't hear from you, I'll touch base with you tomorrow. So you always want to control the next follow-up instead of pushing the responsibility of follow-up out onto the clients. Has anyone caught themselves doing that before? You will now that I mentioned it, because it is amazing how many times it's pushed. Hey, it's a really pretty house. Hey, think about it and just, hey, give me a call if you want to go see it. Once again, shift the burden to them. They won't make the call. Someone else will call them and take command of the conversation and show them the house instead of you.
That happens so often.
How much money does it cost people when they do that? And I mean, I've laughed with a lot of my coaching clients when I break the news to them what they're doing, and then the next coaching call, they're like, oh my God, I caught myself doing that so many times this week. Is shifting the burden to them. Please keep control of your conversation. Every time you're having a conversation with a client, it's ideal for you to lay out the next communication point. Hey, listen, I'm going to check in with you next Monday, and then put it in your calendar and do exactly what you say you're going to do. And when you call them on Monday, You say, hey, hey, it's Steve. Or if you get their voicemail, hey, it's Steve. Hey, as I promised you last week, I was reaching out to you. Point out the fact that you're following up on your promise. It makes you a trustworthy person, someone people want to work with, and you're more likely to get a return call on the voicemail. Does that make sense? There's no head nods because everyone's just still. I got a thumbs up. Okay. Very important follow-up. Follow-up is so important. You will lose the leads if you're not following certain procedures. Okay. Voicemails. When you leave a voicemail with a prospect, you got to be quick. Here's the way old school people teach you. Hi, this is Steve Conley with LoKation Real Estate in the Florida Keys. They leave voicemail. I hope you're having a good day. Hi, listen, I was just calling because they put all those words in there. And the people just, they go to the next voicemail. So you have 4 to 5 seconds on a voicemail when you're leaving a voicemail for someone to get to the key word. And the key word is because. The key word is the reason I'm calling. The key word is, hey, real quick. Now, when someone's listening to a voicemail, hey, don't go into your company name. Hey, it's Steve. I'm calling because. When people hear it because in a voice message or the reason I'm calling, they don't press delete because now they're actually curious about why you're calling. But if you, hi, it's Steve, LoKation Real Estate. I hope you're having a great day. It's really been busy down here. They tune it out because you sound like every other freaking realtor out there. So you've got 4 seconds to get to the pivot word in the voicemail, the word because. Hi, it's Steve, 305-393-5859. I'm calling because there's a new home that matches exactly what you're looking for on the market. And I want to go over that with you as quickly as possible. This home isn't going to last very long. Please call me, 305-393-5859. So your voicemail has to have a pivot and a reason, and then there has to be a call to action. You need them to call you back, and they will. If you leave good voice messages when you're prospecting, you will get responses. If you leave crappy voice messages, hi, just checking in on you, you're not going to get a call back. And then you're going to be wondering, why don't they call me back? So quick pivot word, and you got to have a call to action. Okay. Always appear busy. I hear this one a lot. So, so Steve, hey, listen, we want to go look at that house over on Oak Lane. Okay, well, what day you want to see it? Well, we'd like to see it Friday. Say, well, okay, I'm free all day. When do you want to see it? Free all day. That infers that you're not busy. So when they ask for something on Friday, just say, okay, hold on, let me check my calendar. You're showing professionalism that you have a calendar. Just say, how about 11 or we could do it at 2? Would either of those times work for you? Yes or no. And then if they say, no, we were hoping to see it at noon. Okay, I'll do noon. I'm going to shift someone around. I'll do noon and we'll see you then. Do you see how that gives the impression of them that you're a busy agent, that you're organized, you're in business, as opposed to, yeah, I'm free all day. So be careful what you say around scheduling appointments. Always try to control the narrative. Always try to give them a choice of 1 or 2. If neither of those work, then do them the favor of shifting someone around. And, when you have nothing on your calendar, don't tell them there's nothing on your calendar. All right. When someone doesn't return your voice message, people get upset. Agents get upset. They didn't return my call. They must not be interested. If they wanted to see the home, they would have called me back. All this crap goes on in their head. But what's some reasons why you leave someone a voice message and they don't call you back? One we just covered is the voice message wasn't compelling, had no call to action, had no message in there that they should call you back. So what's another one? Can someone name another reason why they don't call you back? Anyone?
Forgetting to leave your number or saying, call me back, and not introducing themselves and who they are.
Exactly. That's true. And when you noticed in my one message I said, this is Steve. I gave him my phone number, and I gave him the phone number at the end of the voice message too. So I say, do it twice. But what if they're busy? What if the kids both got the stomach flu and they're at home and it's chaos and they can't handle talking to you? Does that mean they don't want to talk to you? No, it doesn't mean they don't. They're not thinking about buying a home at that moment or listing their home. So be careful of judging the inaction of the people you're trying to reach and leaving voice messages. So, I mean, you're busy, they're not in the mood, they're driving and can't talk. They have a job that if they talk on the phone, they get fired. What if they're in the dentist chair? What if they're in the hospital? Always keep your mind focused around, well, it just must not be a good time for them. But don't assume that they don't want to talk to you and then until they tell you, I don't want to talk to you. Hang in the game, hang in there. It's just not the right time. Open houses. At open houses, gosh, Saturday open house. And what do agents do? They call back on Monday morning. Hi, it's Sally. I'm following up from the open house on Saturday. Let's face it, Monday morning, the people's head is not in the game of looking at homes. They're getting back into their daily routine. So be patient with them and call and keep at it. They're not mad at you until they say, leave me alone. But many agents give up after one or two tries and they don't hear back. They move on to the next lead. All right. What is the magic number for number of follow-ups with a lead that you have never talked to, but number of follow-ups with a lead before the sweet spot? How many times is the sweet spot for you to actually get the desired result and have a conversation with people? I think Jonathan said last week, he said something, was it 5 or 6 or something? But does anyone?
7.
7? Does anyone else have any numbers? Okay.
8 to 11.
The number 7 is a good number, but reality is 12. 12 attempted contacts with people through different channels, meaning phone, text, the different channels that you can send on email. You have to go at it 12 times before you can possibly say to yourself, these people just aren't responding to me. So give it 12 and your percentage of success will skyrocket. Don't give up. Don't give up after 1, 2, which is the norm. Most agents give after 1 or 2. They're trying to get the cream off the top, the easy ones that do call you back. You got to dig in, you got to hang in. Okay? Don't become a procrastinator on follow-up. Big problem. People procrastinate. I called them. You get a lead on Zillow and they come in and you call them back and they don't return your call. And you're like, and I hear this a lot. It's like, well, I don't want to bother them. I just called them an hour ago and left them voice messages. I'll call later today. I don't want to seem like a pest. Does anyone see a flow on that?
Yes, you have something they want.
Yes, you have to stay in there, hang in there. I don't use it, but some people do. It's a guerrilla dialing technique. When leads come in at a major team in the United States, they dial them. They dial them the first time and it goes to voice message, which is normal. They dial them, they hang up and immediately dial them again. They get their voice message. They hang up and they dial them again. And the people will finally answer the phone and say, who are you? Why do you keep calling me? Oh, hey, well, this is Steve from LoKation Real Estate. Hey, I'm sorry. I kept trying to leave a voice message and your system kept hanging up on me. I just didn't want you to go without a return call. You see, they blame the voicemail for failing to explain why they're dialing 3 times. May not be a technique for everyone, but they got millions of dollars in GCI to show that it works. Be persistent. Be persistent. You've got to get to the people quickly, and you got to follow up quick, because if you don't, they're going to be on Zillow and they're going to get sent to some other agent. So hustle, hustle, hustle. Don't be afraid of offending someone. A lot of time with procrastination, it's like, I should call those people, but it's Monday morning. They probably got meetings at work and they're busy. I'll check in with them Tuesday morning instead. That is pure procrastination. If you have numbers to dial, get on the phone, do your time, dial them. Your family and your livelihood depend on it. So get rid of the mindset around, well, they'll call me if they're interested. That's a big one. Hey, listen, I've sent them the video, I sent them some listings. They're going to call me if they're interested. No, they're expecting you to call them. So that goes back to control the next communication with them. Let them know when you're going to do it, put it in your calendar, and then follow up accordingly. Okay. Those are just some basic tips around the communication of what's going on out there, the mistakes people are making. Does anyone find that useful? It will result in more closings for you. So work on it, work on it, work on it. Let's talk about prospecting with past clients and your sphere of influence. Once again, it is the easiest place to find business. Everyone has a sphere of influence, even if they don't have it in a CRM. If your kids go to school, you got a sphere of influence. The parents of other kids, the teachers, the staff. If you've been in business for a while, you have sphere of influence. You have lenders. You have support people. There's no reason not to follow up with them. They know people that are going to buy and sell. But your sphere of influence and your past clients are they're diamonds buried in your CRM. There's diamonds and gold buried in your past clients, your sphere. So whenever you sell a house, you make sure that the client that bought the house is entered into your system. And that also the person selling the house is entered into your system. If you list a home and another agent brings a buyer in and buys the home, is there any reason why you can't adopt them as one of your people to put in your database and send them newsletters once a month? What do you think, Jonathan? Is that allowed?
Absolutely.
So everyone follows up with their clients or their customers. But there's another whole side of every transaction that you can grab hold of those people too. You certainly do have their name and probably their address or their future address on the closing statement. You can get that information, put them in your database. The other agent will most likely drop the ball and not follow up with them. So if you're listing a home, someone buys the home, a couple weeks after closing, send them a card. Congratulations on the purchase of your home. I'm so excited to see you in the house. Enjoy it. The transaction is done with their other agent. Adopt them and then follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up. They will become a seller someday. And you're the one that they forgot the other person. You're the one that's kept in touch with them. So load your database, load it, and then start your follow-up. There's a campaign that we're using now called Nurture, Nurture, Nudge. And when you think about following up with people, there are some agents that nurture the heck out of them. Nurture, nurture, nurture. So nurturing would be send them a monthly market report, send them a report on best paint colors to paint your home this spring. Those are nurturing, right? And they're good. But if you've ever been an agent that suddenly someone that you've been nurturing lists with another agent, it's possibly because you nurtured them, but you never nudged. Nurturing is, as I said, newsletters, soft stuff. The nudge comes in, hey, have you had any thoughts of selling? I've got people looking on your street. That's a nudge to try to get them to take some sort of action. If it's a buyer lead, nurture, nurture, and you nudge. Hey, I've got time Saturday. There's some new listings on Oakwood Lane I'd like to show you. How about 9 o'clock? That's a hard nudge to try to push them into action. And if they push back, say, no, 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 we're just not ready to look, reload them into the next month. Nurture, nurture, nudge. You should be nudging people at least once a month to get them to take action. And if they're a hot prospect, you got to nudge them almost weekly. But I bet you've found agents before, maybe you, that just does the nudge. They forget the nurture part. They just nudge them. Everything is a nudge, 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 nudge. Are they going to create a relationship with that buyer or seller just nudging them all the time? Probably not. It gets annoying after a while. They actually unsubscribe from you. So the key to follow-up is blending nurturing pieces with the nudges. And if the nudges are not in there, if you don't take the time to nudge them to try to get them to take action, then they'll never take action with you. They'll probably get nudged by some other agent. Anyone have experience around that? Okay, so nudging. What some of the pieces you can nudge people with are, like I said, a monthly newsletter, a monthly market report, what's going on in the town this month, fall activities. You can nudge them with just sold, just listed. Those are nudges, or not nudges, excuse me, nurturing. Those are just nurturing pieces that you say just sold. That doesn't make people jump to do something. You're just announcing, but you're staying in front of them, staying in front of them. And this is done through mail, social media, wherever you're at. You can put people in an audience and just send them nurturing pieces. But don't forget the nudge or you'll never get the closings. Okay, so past clients and sphere. You got to nurture, nurture, nudge them. And we recommend that you make a personal phone call to these people once a quarter, past clients especially, once a quarter. And the call should be something like this. Hey, Bob. Hey, I was over in your neighborhood the other day and I thought of you. I had realized we haven't spoken in a while. I just wanted to check in with you. What you been up to? It's a soft call. You thought of him, which compliments him. You are in the neighborhood, which means you're still active. And usually you'll have a nice little conversation, reconnect. Somewhere along the way, you can ask them, hey, have you had any thoughts of selling, by the way? Or do you know any of the neighbors in the neighborhood that are thinking about selling? That is one of the #1 prospect generators for sellers, is going after your past clients, checking in with them with a check-in call, friendly, and then ask them, who do you know on your street that's thinking about selling? They will, if they know someone, they'll let you know, or they'll keep you in mind. Now, if they never heard from you, someone's selling down the street, they wouldn't even think to call you. But you have to keep them on the hook and responsible for sending any leads they know on their street to you. Mistakes people make with that strategy is, hey, Bob, hey, listen, yeah, I drove by your house the other day and thought of you. Bob said, oh, what'd you think of the new landscaping? Uh-oh. If you didn't drive by the house, you're out of luck. So think about what you're saying. People laugh at me. I use scripts. Shoot, all these years in the business, I still have scripts for all of that stuff. And it's usually, hey, I was over in your neighborhood showing homes to some people and I've just realized I haven't talked to you in a while. So past clients, especially once a quarter, you got to reach out and touch them. You got to stay in front of them. Some other agent will adopt them, will knock on their door, drop off cookies or something, and they may just go with that person instead of you when it's time to list. Okay, so past clients and sphere, be sure you're touching them with a phone call every quarter and you're giving them a nurture, at least one nurture piece every month, maybe 2, and then nudge them every quarter with that phone call. Just ask them, hey, what's going on? You guys have any thoughts of selling? We've always got buyers and sellers in the area. Okay. Next one is open houses. Now, granted, I could do 2 calls about open houses, but if you do a good open house, you can generate seller leads. And that's what we're really talking about today, is finding seller leads. Of course, you're going to get buyer leads. But with an open house, a planned open house, you can generate seller leads. And here's how. You invite the neighbors. You have an open house, you invite the neighbors, but why would the neighbors want to come see the house? You have a giveaway. Make some reason why they would want to come by. Have a neighbors only preview. We're opening an hour early just for neighbors to come by and see this new listing. We're going to have snacks. We're going to have a giveaway. We're giving away a $50 gift card at such and such Mario's restaurant. Please come by and visit with us and register to win. Now, when they register to win, if you get 5, 6 people come by and they're neighbors, and you have a little fishbowl there, have them fill out to win, put it over on the dining room table, have the gift card there. They register, and by the way, fold a bunch of fake ones in the bottom so it looks like other neighbors came. But when they register, now you have a name, address, a phone number, maybe an email address. Typically, most people that come by those open houses that are neighbors, they come by, they are thinking about selling. The reason they're coming by is to say, hey, how does my house rank up against this one? They're curious. So get to know them, chat with them, and then, tell them you'll follow up with them. Have you guys had a market value report anytime recently? You may not even go there. You might just try to be their friend. Ask them questions like, hey, listen, you live here. I'm curious. What is it you like most about this neighborhood? Always like to share that with potential buyers. Make them feel important. Ask them questions. Ask for their advice. Create a relationship. Now you have a friend in the neighborhood. And if you do it 5 times during the open house, you have 5 friends in the neighborhood that are potential sellers, and they will keep you in mind if they have someone that's thinking about selling, because you're going to be following up with them afterwards. So if you give away a $50 gift card, you have a drawing. At the end of the open house, you had a whole bunch of people through, buyers through. And the question is, well, how do you do that? How do you determine who wins? Anyone have any thoughts on that? I mean, it is your drawing, right? Okay, here's the deal. It's your drawing. We're not in kindergarten. There's no rules. You set the rules. I would think one of those 5 neighbors that came through would probably be the likely winner. You wouldn't want someone to win was a looky-loo wandering around. So you can control who wins that. There's no rules. There's no prize committee. Draw the neighbor out. Drop by his home afterwards. Say, hey, Bob, hey, congratulations, you won. You won. Here's the $50 gift card. Can we get a photo? Because you're going to send a mailer out to the neighbors. Congratulate Bob. He won the $50 gift card. More promotion around the open house. And then you say, Bob, this is a beautiful house. We could probably have a buyer for this right away. And offer to do a market analysis for him. Ask him about the interior. Say, hey, have you guys redone your kitchen? Bob will probably say, why don't you come on in? Since you just gave him a card, reciprocation kicks in. He'll walk in. Next thing you know, you're in their door. Once you're in their door, you've just become their realtor. It's that simple. So open houses can be used for seller lead generation. And by all means, at the end of the open house, every one of those people that came through the open house, by golly, while you're still at the open house wearing the exact same clothing in the kitchen of the house, something they recognize, you send a text video to each and every one of those people. Hey, Bob, it's great meeting you today. Thanks for the tips on the neighborhood. I'm here if you need me. I'm going to follow up with you and send you, something, blah, 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 blah. Make it real quick, but let them see your face, let them hear your voice again, and reaffirm the relationship that you created at the open house. Okay. What do y'all think? Is anyone getting anything out of this at all? No one's moving on the screen. So geographic. Okay, thanks, Robert and Billy. Okay.
It's hard to get the feedback sometimes, Steve, but the content is fantastic. You're overcoming a lot of obstacles and giving outside the box theories on how to get in touch and start conversations. That's really the name of our game. You got to start conversations with more people.
You got to break out of, you got to differentiate. You've got to do it better than the other guy or the other gal. Okay, if you don't, they're going to do it to you. So great. Geographic farming with Cole Realty Resources, we have an incredible tool. and I covered that in the last call I had with y'all. We can get email addresses for neighborhoods we want to work. We can get phone numbers. We can get real information on the people. That's of great value. So geographic farming, remember, it goes past client and sphere is the #1 lead source. Open house is #2 because high quality, face-to-face leads. #3 is geographic farming. Work a farm, own it, be the mayor of that area. But how do you pick a farm? How do you pick a farm? There's a few things. First of all, you want to pick a farm that you're able to work. If it's in a gated community and you don't have the code to get in, not a good idea. Steer clear of it because you can't ever get a foothold in there. Find a place you want to be in. But most of all, look at your turnover rate. Very, very important. If you're working a farm that has a low turnover rate, then you're in a losing position. You're not going to get any ROI on your investment. So here's how you do it. You take your farm, say this neighborhood or 2 neighborhoods that you're working are 500 homes. You look at the number of sales in the past 12 months, or you can go 24 months and divide it by 2, but you're looking for an annual number of sales in the community. So, and if in this case, there's 500 homes and you look in the MLS and you find there were 36 closings in the past 12 months, you divide 36 by 500 and you get a 7.2% turnover rate. It's 0.072, 7.2%. Anything over 5% is a viable farm, a good farm. With the lower inventory now and higher prices, you could get by with like a 4% turnover. But beware of a community when you do that calculation that I just said, and you've got a 2% turnover rate, you look at the number of sales and the cost to market to the 500 homes, there's not enough return. Move on to another farm. Find a place where you can get in there and get enough sales to make the farm profitable for you. Okay. The second thing you want to look at is when you're looking at those sales for the past 12 months, is you want to look for a dominant agent. Well, you guys have seen that in a neighborhood where it's like, oh my gosh, her signs are everywhere. Well, if you do some research on Sunbiz or if you go, to the license portal, you might find out she actually lives in that farm area. She lives in that community. And if she has a dominant number of the sales, more than 50% of them from the during the prior 12 months, and she actually lives in the community, move on. It's not a good choice. You're not going to be able to get a foothold. You can't. She has an established reputation. She has a lot of business in there, a lot of signs, and she lives there. And if you don't live there, look for another farm. Okay. Also look at the price point. Is the price point of the home selling in there in a price point you really want to be working in? Or is it in a price point that you're capable of working in? If you farm $1 million community, but you're not really set up for $1 million homes with your presentation and such, maybe it's not the best match for you. But the same thing, if the homes are selling for $115,000 and you've got a rover payment and all this, and you got overhead, you can't make the money you need, even if you captured all of the sales in there. So you got to look at turnover rate. You got to look for the dominant agent, and you got to look at the price range of the homes selling in there. See if it's a match. See if it's what you want. Then you got to go in and become the mayor of that community. It's really, really important. You've got to go all in on it. Now, that doesn't mean you have to spend a bunch of money on mailings. Actually, mailings are not the best route to go always. But on Google display ads, you can draw a circle around that neighborhood and advertise to the people that are in there. Display ads. They'll be on there looking at shoes on Amazon. Your face will keep popping up. That's good. Okay. You can do other things too. When you own the neighborhood, is do a Thanksgiving food drive in the neighborhood. That's nice. Go in there, do a food drive, get you a chance to drop off bags, get you a chance to pick up food. You're doing something for the community. People like you for doing it. Okay. What about Halloween this year? Do a reverse Halloween. Drop off bags of candy for the kids, because in a lot of cases, they're not going to be able to go out and trick or treat. So just reverse trick or treat. Drop stuff off with your card to it. Say, hey, sorry we're going to miss you at the house this year, but we wanted to share some goodies. Become active in the community. The other way, Andy C., who's out in California, he's 10 million GCI. He still walks the neighborhoods. He just knocks on the door. If they open it, he's a market report, hands them a market report on the neighborhood every month. If they don't answer, he puts it under the doormat. You are a knowledge broker. You have knowledge and you're sharing it. So get out there, own the farm. There's lots of things you can do. You can sponsor the garage sales. If there's a garage sales in that community, you can have garage sale kits, meaning 4 garage sale signs, stickers for pricing stuff. And if you can advertise to everyone, hey, listen, if you're having a garage sale, call us. We have signs to loan you, and we have a garage sale kit for you. By the way, who usually has garage sales in the neighborhood?
Sellers.
Exactly. Right. And by the way, on Saturday in the spring months, go to the garage sales. Just go. Shake the hands. Hey, you guys are selling everything. My God, are you leaving? Yeah, we're just starting to clean up, get ready. Well, hi, I'm Steve. I'm a realtor. I work in this area. Wow. I love your home. I mean, get really, really involved in the farm. You will, once it takes some time, but once you get going, people will think of you. Now, once you meet the guy at the garage sale or the gal at the garage sale, hey, do you mind if I check in with you in a month or so? And they'll say, oh, sure. But you can ask them, are you looking to sell? But you can also ask them, hey, who do you know on the street that's looking to sell? So when you have a friend in the neighborhood, you can tap into them to tell you who's thinking about selling. And if you've been nice to them and they've received your bag of candy at Halloween and they've done this and they've done that, they'll give you the information. Other things you can do is the family portrait day. You could have a photographer come in, if there's a clubhouse there, set up, and you pay the photographer, get a young photographer that's trying to make a living, pay him to come in, do family portraits. People do they really do family portraits anymore? I don't know, but
100%.
Do that, and then you allow the photographer to market the photos on Shutterstock, where he actually makes a premium or makes a commission on every photo sold. So it gives makes the whole thing to offer photos in neighborhoods. They go so you're always behind is when they talk about get to creation. Kinds of things we can do in a farm. But the key is to think, I'm going to die.
I think so.
Am I there? Okay. Hold on.
Am I the only one that lost it?
Okay, does everyone hear me now?
I think we got you back.
Okay, good. We've been having internet problems in the Keys down here. We was shut down the whole day the other day. So with farming done correctly, it's not just putting a postcard out to the farm every month. One card a month, you'll go broke, you'll get nothing. You have to become engaged in the community. And the more engaged you can become, the more they see you. And when you're in the neighborhood, if you walk a dog and you're in the neighborhood walking a dog, please wear something that says LoKation. Let them know. When you walk up to someone, say, hi, how are you? And they look and they see your LoKation. Oh, are you a realtor? Yes, I am. Without that, then you have the awkwardness of having to say, hi, I'm a realtor. Let them know by displaying it on the clothing you're wearing, okay? So once again, there's a whole bunch of stuff around that we can work on. What about for sale by owners and expireds? anyone done those before? For sale by owners and expireds. Not as many expireds as they were in the past. Expireds, when you talk to expireds, you want to try to call them if you can. You can get the numbers. Cole has numbers. Vulcan 7 has numbers. You reach out to these people. The key is the script. The script with expireds is very, very important. Once again, let's go back. I used to be with Keller Williams, so I'm going to get on their case a little bit. Oh, their scripts were horrible back in the day. They trained people to dial there, and the script was, "Hi, my name is Steve with LoKation Real Estate in the lower Florida Keys. I hope you're doing well today," but boom, hang up. All that wordiness gets a hang up. And never let someone take control of your conversation on an expired call. "Hi, how are you doing today?" If you ask them a question and now they're expected to speak, you have given all control of the call to the people. So best way to do it is, "Hey, this is Steve." Say, "Hey, this is Steve. I'm a local agent. I'm calling because." That's about 4 seconds, right? Get to the because quick. They won't hang up because they're suddenly curious. "Hey, it's Steve. I'm a local agent. I'm calling because I saw your home went off the market. I'm curious. Are you still accepting cash offers?" Ooh. Well, that sounds a lot different than every other agent that's been calling me. And they pause before they hang up on you and say, "Well, wait a minute. Do you have a cash offer?" "Well, I might. I've got 3 buyers looking in the neighborhood. 2 of them are cash. But they all have some questions about the properties. First of all, can you tell me how old the roof is on your house?" And what you're doing is you're shifting the conversation off the offer and into the condition of the house. And these are soft questions. Do you know, how old is the roof? And the other is, have you upgraded the kitchen with granite countertops, or are they still Formica? My buyers, that's what one of the questions they're asking me. So they answer that question. So now they've answered 2 questions. They're in what we just answer mode. This is NLP. They are answering questions. So now they're going to answer more. So you say, "And hey, wait a minute. I'm really curious. The home looks like it's a nice house. Did your other agent ever tell you why it didn't sell?" Now you're pushing them into a discussion about why it didn't sell, which allows them to vent. When they vent, you can agree with them. Don't ever, or always agree, just, "Hey, I understand exactly what you're saying. I hear that a lot." Unfortunately, some agents aren't equipped with the same tools that we are. So when you go into an expired call, go very quickly into something that changes up that sounds different than another agent. Are you still accepting cash offers? It makes them pause. They don't hang up. Because most agents say, "Hey, I'd like to come to your house and sit down with you and show you how we can get your home sold," blah, 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 blah. People don't want to sit down and they don't want to hear the story. They were lied to before by the other agent. They're looking for someone different. So your script going into these has got to be something that's different, that sounds different. You'll hold their attention and then you can continue the conversation with them. And my conversation on my expired was, "It seems like it should have sold. Gosh, hey, listen, I'm going to be around the corner from your house this afternoon around 4, talking to some folks about listing their home. Why don't I just pop by? Just give me 5 minutes. I'll make it brief, but maybe I can put my thumb on why the property didn't sell. You'd like to know, wouldn't you?" "Yes." And they say, "Sure." And you go by. Now, I didn't try to list the home on the call. I didn't try to do anything but be Mr. Helpful. You go by the house. You say, "This is a really pretty home." Most of the homes don't sell because of bad photos, bad marketing, bad wording in the listing. And just ask, "Hey, had you sold the home, what was your plan?" This is looking into their future. "Well, we were going to move out and see our grandkids in Montana and live in Montana." "Montana's beautiful. How old are the grandkids?" Keep them talking. Find out what their dream is. And then ask them, "So what have you done? Are you just going to give up on that dream?" "Well, no, we still want to go there." Then you can say, "Hey, listen, I sell a lot of homes. Why don't you give me a shot? I know I can do a better job than that other agent. Why don't you let me get my sign in the yard? Let me give it a shot for a while. Maybe I can help you get to Montana because it sounds like you really need to be there." Okay. So the the tempo of that call, and I said we could talk about it for an hour, of that script and that call is one of, I'm not threatening, it's very helpful. I'm not being the pushy person that wants to come sit down with them and show them what they can do. They don't care about you. I'm the best agent in town. They don't want to hear that. What you're doing is helping them solve a problem. And that's what the expired script needs to be. Expireds are money. That is, they're low-hanging fruit. But they likely have been a little, a bad taste in their mouth about realtors and about the whole process, because their home didn't sell the first time around and they had to clean it up every time there was a showing. So be empathetic, be compassionate, and lean into them. Ask them lots of questions. I'm curious. The word curious drags out the whole truth. Does that make sense? Okay. For sale by owners, I've got 3 minutes left. I'm sorry. I'll have to come back. For sale by owners, what is the number of weeks it takes for sale by owner on average to become frustrated with the process and give up? Does anyone know? Actually, this was a study done by Hoss Pratt in Texas. He was coach down there, years of training. It's 8 weeks. 8 weeks in general. Most people have the excitement for sale by owner their home, and it takes 8 weeks for them to get tired of the process, to realize maybe I do need help. Frustration with low offers, frustration with people knocking on the door wanting to walk through the home, just general frustration. So if you're trying to list for sale by owners, it's important to watch the time frame around them. If you catch them the first week they list, you're going to have to hang in there for 8 weeks. If you catch them in week 6, they might be ready to move to you immediately. So, but they're not going to list with you if you dishonor their process. Respect them, honor them. Say, hey folks, hey listen, I respect you for trying to sell it yourself. Heck, I'd probably do the same thing if I were you. But the reality is 96% of all homes are sold with a realtor. And you don't have a realtor on your side, so you're getting buyers that generally are not qualified, that realtors threw back, that didn't want to work with those people because they weren't qualified, they were deceptive, and you're probably getting lowball offers because for sale by owners are targeted by investors that are trying to buy something cheap. Have you had any of that? Yeah, it's just the nature of the business. So you can have that conversation with them, but reality is you need to nurture, nudging them at least once a week during the 8-week process. And things you can do is check in on them. One check-in is, hey Joe, I'm showing some listings in your neighborhood tomorrow. I'm just double checking. Are you still on the market? Yeah, I know you're not going to pay me a commission. That's fine. But when I drive by your place and the people ask me about it, I want to be able to tell them about the house, and I'll give them your number. That's a touch. And it's a high quality touch. You're expecting nothing, but you might actually throw business their way. Touch, touch, touch. Drop off a safety guide. Say, listen, this is from our National Association of Realtors about how to show a house safely. For sale by owners are targets for people that are, they see the sign, they knock on the door, and they want to walk through your house. And 3 of them come in and they all go different directions. Have you ever had that happen? It's scary because you can't keep an eye on all 3. So here's a guide. We're trained in all this. We're trained how to do this, but here's a guide for you to have a look at. Please pay close attention, especially don't walk into a room first. They can shut the door and lock you in. Now, you don't do that on the first time you talk to them, because then you feel like they feel like you're but along the way, you want to have the safety talk with them. And when you're doing it, a lot of times one of the spouses there, suddenly their jaw will drop and fear will kick in. So there's a lot of things you can be doing to get for sale by owners, but it all involves 2 touches a week for at least 8 weeks. Most agents will give up after 1 or 2 phone calls. Be the agent that hangs in there. Okay. Tommy, I know we're out of time, so be there.
No worries at all. I mean, Appreciate all this. We'll have to get you back on again. I know you were talking about that Google class too. So we'll figure out a couple more times to get you back on.
Okay, great. And some of this stuff might have been a fire hose. We covered up tapped around a whole bunch of stuff. But I was trying to give you guys some tips to increase your success rate in prospecting.
No, it was all great.
Okay, online leads is a big subject that we'll have to take another time because it's a really big subject. And some of the leads are actually the lowest quality leads. These other methods will give you much higher quality leads, but online leads gives you quantity, and then you have to sift through and find the good quality in there. So, okay. So I hope you guys found it useful.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, thank you so much, Steve. We will see you soon. Next week, I believe we're doing another one with the KV Core Specialist, Mike Pritchard. So everybody tune in for that. Also check out the calendar. We got several other classes coming up this week as well. So thanks again, Steve.
Sure.
And we will
Thanks
see
for having
everybody soon.
Take care, guys.